Hey guys, Flute Ninja here. Sorry I haven't been posting a video as of lately. Summer vacation has just begun. I'm visiting in New York with my father. I've been working with him ever since I first visited here back in the end of May. And a lot has been going on with me lately. I've been trying to text my friends, one of them being laziness since I brought over my Switch since my sister wanted me to bring the Switch so we can play a lot of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I recently bought the DLC, which include Piranha Plant and the 5 other fighters that are coming. 3 of them have already been revealed. But, the reason why I'm making this video right now is because after my next Mortal Kombat 9 tag letter video, I plan to do another Ninja Critic review. And I honestly don't know what I should review next. I mean, at one point, well, not at one point, I actually rewatched my, review on what the worst animated movie I've ever seen in my life was. I was not pleased with that video. That video was obviously unscripted. And I had plans to remake another one and delete that other one. If you saw that video, you already know what the worst animated movie I've ever seen is, which is Dougal. But I do have plans to do a second review, like I said, and this time I'm going to script the video. But on to another announcement. Like I said, my next video that I want to do is another Ninja Critic review. And it's been really hard on which movie or game or series I've always wanted to do. So here's what I decided to do for a little differently. I'm going to ask you, i.e. the viewers, to vote on what my next Ninja Critic review should be on out of this list that I contain. There are 5 possible answers, and the voting will end on August 31st, 11:59. So sit back, watch the list, and see which of these medias... Sorry I'm not doing so well with this. But sit back, and as you go through the list, pick on which one you'd like me to review next. Number 1, the Dead or Alive live-action movie. Truth be told, I had no idea what Dead or Alive was back then when I first watched this movie. It kind of looked like some cheesy martial arts movie. And after I saw the movie myself, it was alright for my first viewing. Not good, not bad. However, my opinion suddenly changed when I found out that this was actually based off a video game series that I almost never played back then. And ever since I watched the Dead or Alive movie, I've only played, I think, 3 games in the entire Dead or Alive series. Those being Dead or Alive 3, Dead or Alive 5 Last Round, and the original Dead or Alive 5. And the reason why I wanted to do this movie is because live-action movies based on a video game usually get a bad rap. You want prime examples? The Resident Evil movies, especially the abomination that was the final chapter. You want another example? House of the Dead. 2 of the worst video game-based movies I have ever seen in my life. And I would love to rip another one to shreds, but this time focusing on a movie that isn't centered around zombies. How about a live-action video game movie centered around a fighting game or a fighting tournament? I actually showed this list to my friend Maurice. He goes under the YouTube channel The Zombie Guy. I sadly don't have a link for him, so yeah. And he says that this is the one I should review, but again, I want you guys' opinion on what I should vote next, and this is my first option. Number 2, the worst animated show I've ever seen in my life. And before you start guessing, no, it's not Teen Titans Go. That's why I have this question mark mystery box. The worst animated show that I've ever seen, I've actually had a long history behind it. And while Teen Titans Go used to take that title, this mysterious show, I completely forgot about it until very recently. And I would love to shred this show a new one to show the world how bad it was. And I'm really hoping that the mysterious Mr. Enter doesn't review it. Like, I don't, like, he can review it, but I'm just hoping that I can get this review out first before he does, because I don't want people to think I'm just ripping off what he's doing. Number 3, the Golden Axe trilogy. More specifically, the 3 Golden Axe games on the Sega Genesis. Now, I know what you're thinking. Flute Ninja, why would you want to review the Golden Axe trilogy? I mean, it's one of the most popular beat-em-up games of all time. I mean, how can you not like a game that has a barbarian, a dwarf, an Amazon, in a beat-em-up game centered around the old ages? I'm not a big fan of this series. Yes, you heard me right. Golden Axe. A beat-em-up game. One of my favorite genres of all time, if not my favorite genre of all time. One of the most popular games on the Sega Genesis, and one of the most popular beat-em-up games, is not my cup of tea. I don't outright hate the game. It's just that I was really never a big fan of them to begin with, and the first 2 games, I'm gonna come straight and tell you right now, I hate the first 2 games. I enjoyed the third one. I enjoyed the Death Adder game. And don't get me started on the other one. Ugh. But yeah, Golden Axe Trilogy, I was not a big fan of the series. I hated the first 2 games. The third one I thought was the best in the series, but that still had problems. Death Adder, I didn't count that one since it's not part of the trilogy, and it never came out on consoles. But the 3 original on the Sega Genesis, I did have a little history with it. And if this gets the most votes, I'm going to explain why I was never a big fan of the series to begin with, more specifically the first 2 games, and why I consider the third one to be the best, despite the fact that people consider the third one to be the weakest of the 3. Number 4, Hoodwinked. This, similarly to the worst animated show I've seen in my life, I actually had a history with it, but not too much of a history. I actually saw this film back in 2005. I think I was only about 7 years old. And the reason why I decided to watch this film at a young age is because the movie was based off the fairy tale Little Red Riding Hood. And what some of you might know, that was my all-time favorite fairy tale back in my childhood. And yet, I did read the version by the late Ronald Dahl, and I think that one is the superior version. Now, I did enjoy the original, the woodsman killing off the wolf, filling it with rocks, but I, for some reason, love the Ronald Dahl version more. And in fact, if you want me to be honest, I actually have a character idea for a Little Red Riding Hood based character, but I don't want to talk about that right now. But anyways, the reason why I wanted to do this movie review was because it was made by the Weinstein Company, the same company that distributed Dougal, which, as many of you already know, is the worst animated movie I've ever seen in my entire life. Worse than Food Fight, worse than Norm of the North, worse than Emoji Movie, all 3 of them combined. I would rather watch all of them than Dougal at any point. However, this film, fans seem to be split on this movie. Some people think it's the best Weinstein movie that they have ever made, and people have been saying that it's an abomination to fairy tale. For me, personally, I was siding with the people who hated it. And why is that? Well, if this movie gets the most votes, then you're gonna see why. And lastly, number 5, which I recently saw, the Kim Possible live-action movie. Do you guys remember what I said back in my list of the top 15 worst films of 2017? How I said Death Note was like the worst live-action movie based on any animated material? I recently saw this movie, the Kim Possible live-action movie. I think this movie is getting ready to take that title. Oh my god, was this movie horrendous. I love the Kim Possible cartoon. I love the movies. I've only played one of the games, and I don't remember which one it was. But I remember it was on the DS, but I forgot what it was called. And to be honest, I didn't give that many high expectations. I was in the middle expectation for this movie. Because I thought to myself, okay, you know what, it's going to be terrible, but at least I can see some redeeming moments in this movie. I couldn't find one. I actually saw this film beginning to end. There was not a single thing that I liked about this movie. The casting was horrendous. Well, not horrendous, but the casting was bad. The acting was bad. The action scenes was bad. Everything about this movie scarred me. And oh man, if this does get the most vote, I actually want to invite my friend Maurice over because I can't, because I don't think I can do this alone. I'm going to need his help on this. So, that was my update video. I really hope you can understand what was going on with me lately. And by the end of August, I want you all to pick of the 5 candidates which one I should review next for my Ninja Critic review. After August 31st, I will check back on this video and see which and tally up the votes. I'm the Flute Ninja, and I'll see you all in my next MK9 Tag Ladder video. Peace.